Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this Wednesday, December 7th in the Locker Room. I'm Alan Locher. Actress and director Brittany Underwood, along with actors Camilla Banus and Mark Hapka, are here to tell us about their new film, Sweet Navidad, premiering on the Peacock platform this Sunday, December 11th. Brittany directed Camila and Mark in the film. Brittany is well known to daytime audiences for her role as Langston Wilde on One Life to Live and her role as Riley Henderson on The Bay. She appeared as Loren Tate on the Nick at Night series Hollywood Heights. Some of her other credits include Law & Order SVU, Youthful Daze, Major Crimes, and The Goldbergs, to name a few. Sweet Navidad is her directorial debut. Daytime fans also know Camilla Banus for her role as Gabi Hernandez on Days of Our Lives and her role as Lola Montez on One Life to Live. She had a regular role on the Fox TV show Star in the third season. Mark Hapka, also known to daytime audiences for his role as Nathan Horton on Days of Our Lives and Eric Preston on Beacon Hill. He first gained attention for portraying the lead role of the spirit Zach on the Ghost Whisperer spinoff, Ghost Whisperer: The Other Side. He had a recurring role also on the hit series Hannah Montana and appeared on Greek and Cold Case, to name a few. It's my pleasure to welcome to the Locker Room Camilla Banus, Mark Hapka, and Brittany Underwood.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Hello.
You're so welcome. Brittany and I have a little New Jersey connection.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I'm here in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. What was growing up in Jersey like for you?
I loved growing up in Jersey. It's so funny when I tell people like, oh, I'm from Jersey. And some people are like, sorry. And I'm like,
Or
why?
what exit? Or what exit?
Right. Or what exit, which I never know my exit because I don't take the turnpike. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm from Jersey. What do you want from me? No, but I think Jersey's so beautiful. I think the people are real. I really like how real the people are. So, and I miss the Jersey food. Jersey's like good comfort food. Lots of Italians.
Lots of diners.
Yeah.
Lots of diners. That's so funny because I grew up on the turnpike. So exit 18 was mine. Now I'm on the Parkway, which, people, so it's very funny.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize there's a lot of countryside in Jersey, and it's very beautiful.
It's called the Garden State for a reason. Like the foliage in the fall is insane. It's
absolutely.
Just
absolutely.
Beautiful.
Have you spent time in Jersey, Mark?
I have friends out there, so I've been over to their houses, and it's always like a beautiful fall experience or a beautiful summer experience. And yeah, I mean, the sun comes through the trees and there's grass. I don't think of Jersey in like a dirty city way at all.
Thank you.
I agree about the sun. I moved here about 7 years before the pandemic hit and couldn't be more grateful to a backyard and sunshine, I was on the 15th floor of an apartment in New York prior. So imagine that in a one bedroom before the pandemic. So got very lucky.
Yeah, there's space. That's always nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Brittany, this is your directorial debut, but as I heard backstage, you directed something prior.
No. So I know it got confusing because I directed that one. This was my directorial debut, but it did not debut first. I had two movies that I shot afterwards that aired before because this walked into a Christmas slot and we didn't get it done in time to air that Christmas. So it aired the Christmas after a year and a half later. Yeah.
Close.
Right. So I've already had two come out before this, but this is the first one I worked on. Yeah.
Awesome. How did you get involved with the project?
So this came to me through a company called Ninth House with Jake Helgren and Autumn Federici, who I had been.
Jake will be on my show a week from today.
Perfect. Love Jake. So Jake and I did a movie. Our first one was called It Happened One Valentine's. And we just became really good friends from that. And then I was in two more movies for them. And then I started this whole directing career path with another company, but which was the two movies that aired first, Cartel. But Jake and Autumn called me first to work on this one. So I was super thrilled because I got to be Latina for a little bit. Hollywood doesn't ever because I look like a white girl because I'm half white. But, you know, I speak fluent Spanish. I feel very.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Cool.
that was my first language actually growing up. So yeah, and a lot of people don't know that because I look like this. But
I also don't think you would know it from Underwood.
Right, that's my dad's name, exactly. But my mom's name is
And
Martinez.
her Spanish is so beautiful, I have to say.
Camila, actually, I have to give Camila credit. We knew each other 13 years ago when we played cousins on One Life to Live. And Camila was like the first girl my age that would speak Spanish with me. So I was like, I felt more Latina, like I felt more connected to that, to have a bestie like that, you know? And because other than that, it's my family or friends I meet along the way, but like Camila like allowed me to like fully voice that here in the US and not feel like you're not Latina enough because you're not full. Like I felt so accepted by you, Camila, for real.
No, and I actually just had an interview the other day where I was saying the same thing about you. You were the only person on One Life that made me feel like I could ask a silly question or just like talk in Spanish to, or just be me, like, you know, open up to. So, and I also lived in Jersey. I actually lived off of the first exit.
Back to the exits. Back to the exits.
I lived in West New York. So yeah.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Where?
Off of Burger Line.
Well, I grew up very close to West New York, but I lived on 65th and Boulevard East. The view of the city.
Okay. I lived with.
So we're all East Coast then.
Bizarre. What?
We're all East Coast then.
East Coast rules.
Because I was born upstate New York.
Okay,
lived in Buffalo and Syracuse, and then went a lot into Jersey in the city. Yeah.
You missed quite a bit of snow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They had like a little over 6 feet.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I know. I'm going
not
to
even
Buffalo
winter.
in January. I'm going to Buffalo.
Nice. Wait,
and
tell me
winter
when. I'll meet
hasn't
you
hit
out
us
there.
yet.
Yeah, maybe end of January, early February. I haven't gotten the dates yet, but I'm going to do a movie up there.
Camilla, I love it.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm
did
due
you
to
love
be out
telling
there, so
people
I'll
you were
come
from
visit.
West New York? People didn't understand. West New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Every time I bring that up, people are like, "Where?"
Really? So, Brittany, did you have a hand in casting the two of these actors?
Funny story. So yeah, with Camila, I was like, guys, you have to get Camila for this role. Like, she's the perfect admin. Like, please, like, she's perfect. She's perfect. She's perfect. And because a lot of people didn't know her yet, like, I was like, okay, Camila, girl, I need you to read for this role. And she's so talented. And she was like, yes, girl, I got you. She read, and everyone's like, wait, no, she is perfect. Like, as soon as I read the script, I was like, it cannot be anyone else. It has to be Camila. And so I really fought for Camila. And with Mark came in and saved the day. we had someone that passed, and we lost them the night before day one. And I get a call from Autumn, and she was like, bad news, we lost so-and-so. Good news, we got you Mark Hapka. And Mark and I have known each other 10 years, 13?
At least 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So I love that.
Actually, maybe 13. I was going through old Instagram posts to kind of pinpoint it and figure out. That's what I sent you those posts of us at like the Hayride or whatever, like 12 years ago.
Yeah. It was crazy. And so when Autumn said we got Mark, I was like, oh, my two leads are people I have known for over a decade. Like, what a dream for me to have my first movie with people that are like family to me. So that was really special, actually. Like, all the cast.
Did you know we knew each other?
No, did not know that.
Oh wow, yeah.
Did not know at all.
Wait, that
Like a full triangle.
Yeah.
Camilla and Mark knew each other too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because we overlapped on days for.
Oh, right. I was going to ask. Right, you did.
Yeah.
I looked at the year, so I assumed you did.
I had just gotten there, just kind of briefly met Mark for a little bit, had a couple of like events where I met him, but you know, very brief.
Yeah. Very, very brief.
And it was great. This was actually an awesome experience because I got to have Camila and Mark. I hired David Fumero, who was also on One Life to Live with us. Yeah. I hired one of my best friends, Ashley Sutton. Autumn was in it. I mean, it was just like a family affair. So it was kind of a lot of the crew were people that I had known from shooting with Autumn and Jake. So Dawn, our editor, who you know, Dawn Money.
Thank you for setting this up. Yep.
Yeah. we knew a million people in common. Mark is just one of those people that knows everyone in Hollywood, and not like every time I'm like, oh, do you know Mark Hapka? The answer is always like, yeah, I do know Mark Hapka. So that was not a surprise. We got so many good peeps on this one. So I was like, what a lucky.
Well, that must take the pressure off, knowing it was your directorial debut. You also have Mark, Camilla, David, who grew up like you did on a soap set. So you know you can hand them anything and they've got it, because that experience is unlike any other.
Oh gosh, thank God I had them. Yeah, because I just got thrown into the fire of something that's so cool and crazy and exciting, but demanding. And there's so much to keep track of. And it made me appreciate directors so much. I was like, holy smokes, they have so much on their plate at any given moment. And they have to be able to like navigate all these problems coming their way while still moving the story forward and focusing on the creative moments. So to be able to have people that I felt were in my corner made that a really, really pleasant experience for me, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to ask Mark and Camilla a question, but I have to ask Mark first. Have people told you look like Paul Rudd before?
No, but that's a fantastic compliment.
You do. I don't know.
I think
for some reason you are giving off Paul Rudd today.
I'll take it. Yeah. That guy's looked the same for the last 40 years. So hopefully.
Yeah. Yes, he has. Camilla, Mark, tell me, what was Brittany like? I mean, knowing her as an actress, what was she like as a director?
Well, for me, it was really special because, again, knowing Brittany the way I did from New York, she was like the only friend I had. So to have her be in my corner again for this role, first of all, was huge, that she was fighting for me, that she saw me for this in the script when she was reading it, was awesome. So to have her as my director, especially also as my first lead in a feature, was like huge for me, because I could, again, go to her for any silly, dumb question, any concern, any little, hey, was that weird? Hey, should I do that again? Hey, whatever the situation was, I just felt super comfortable. I mean, it's different when you show up on a set where you don't know anybody and you just have to make that chemistry up first. And then you get to that point where you can ask those questions. But with Brittany, it was like, it was there from before. I mean, we've been friends for forever, and it was amazing to work alongside her, and to see her in this position was also amazing for me. It was an honor
because you were both kids on One Life to Live, it's a bit of a, when you think back to One Life to Live, and the directors you work for, and now she is one of those.
Yeah. And right before this movie, we had worked as co-stars. So it was great to have that. We had a long time that we hadn't, hung out or even seen each other. And then we got to work as co-stars and, kind of play and be back to like that friend zone. And then immediately we got to work on this, and it was just even better. It was better than I can imagine. And watching the movie last week, I mean, I was crying the whole time because
I was gonna ask, have you seen it, Mark?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I called Brittany the next day. I was like, this turned out so great, because I know the hardships that we went through getting it done, and I know it's with these movies, it's always a hustle. It's always a constant one after the other. You don't get much time with takes, and it exceeded even my expectations on it. So I'm really excited. And to piggyback off of Camilla with Brittany directing. I don't know if she knows this, but I was driving to Joshua Tree the day before filming. I had like a plan to be there for the next like 2 weeks, and Autumn called me. And
before you saved the day.
Yeah, well, exactly. She calls me. She's like, "Where are you right now?" And I was like, "Uh-oh." I was like, what do you need? Just jump right into it. I know you're gonna feel this out. You're gonna try to figure out. I was like, just what do you need? And she's just like, do you want to play the lead in this Christmas movie? I was like, okay, tell me more. She's like, oh, I should probably start with it starts tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay. But then my next question was, who's directing it? Because that was going to determine everything. And then when she said Brittany, I was like, absolutely. I said, I trust her, especially in a situation like this. Because I told her I didn't even have my first day off, I think, until day 4 or whatever. And I didn't have a chance to actually work through the script before starting filming. So like, luckily knowing where I was and what page and having experience and like, I didn't get to start creating this character until I was already shooting it. So I started to figure it out as I went along. And I was like, I'm going to need a director that knows how to like help me through that, guide me through that, and like put me on track creatively. So I know that I'm doing the right thing. Cause I don't know this character yet, you know? And yeah, I was very excited because Brittany and I had talked about like doing stuff years ago with friends, like, oh, we should make the script. And Brittany's like, yeah, and I can direct it. And I was like, oh, that would be a fun character. And like talked about working together. And then it just manifested itself overnight. Quite literally.
How did you two meet?
How did we?
Was it?
I love it. They both looked up.
Wait, because no, because it's so weird. Wasn't this through Crystal? Didn't you come to a bowling game with me and Kristen?
Oh yeah, wait, Crystal,
or Jerry Verdorn,
Crystal Hunt. No. This was in LA. Were you there at that game, or you had gone to a game with Kristen?
I think that we had done. Oh, I'd gone to a Dodgers game with Kristen and a couple other people.
And Crystal Hunt was. I thought Crystal Hunt was there.
She might have been there. I just worked with her on 23 Blast.
Yes.
She's a good friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
I worked with her on Guiding Light.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So Crystal Hunt brought Kristen Alderson, who's my best friend from One Life and in Real Life, and Mark.
Oh, wait, I had no idea.
That was also the day that I met Kristen. I met her at that game.
I know.
Yeah.
I
love Kristen.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, what's not to love? She's amazing. So you guys had met there, and then we went to a bowling game afterwards. I think it was Crystal's birthday, and I heard about this. And then, so I had heard about you. And then after I did that movie with Lexi, my first Lifetime movie, Backstab, Lexi Ainsworth from General Hospital, she invited me to go to haunted Halloween Horror Nights in LA. And I think that's where I met you in person.
With me and Casey, actually. Casey Diedrich from the show as well, who Camilla worked with. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
That's so funny. Yeah. And that's where those photos were from. And then we saw each other at auditions too, randomly. And we're like, oh, I guess we're friends because we can't get away from each other. So, yeah.
And then it was
6
that like
of separation right here.
Yeah. Ashley Holiday knew you, like all of my actor friends either worked with you or knew you at some point. But then
I was in acting. My first acting class was with Ashley Holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were in class together.
Another one of my best friends from Hollywood
Amazing.
Heights. I don't remember where we saw each other after that Halloween moment.
I remember seeing you at an audition on Sunset Boulevard at that casting office with Michelle Stafford happened to be there too, and she was reading for the mother role of like 2 roles that we were doing for this crazy weird, like, I don't know what it was, like a sci-fi horror.
Yeah, it was apocalypse. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Ending.
Yeah.
You say Michelle Stafford, and I can see Brittany playing her daughter.
Oh, I'll take that.
I can see that too.
Totally. Yeah. So who wants to tell me what Sweet Navidad is about?
Camila, go.
Go ahead.
I'm
it's going to be one of the Latinas here, not me. Not me.
Oh, are we going to do it in Spanish?
I'll say it. So we have Carmen, who's played by Camila, who is
that right there. You just scored on that one.
So Camila was playing Carmen, she's this really free-spirited pastry chef who cooks from her heart. All the ingredients aren't measured. She just kind of like eyeballs it and feels it out. And she cooks with so much love and passion and exciting energy. And then we have Mark played this character, Jax, who, is a very refined sous chef and does everything by the book and, measures everything out to the exact measurements. And so we have 2 completely different cooking styles, and they get paired up to create this menu for this extravagant gala event, and they have to work together. And what I love so much about this movie is the 2 cultures coming together because, it reminded me of my parents. I didn't expect to get emotional because my mom's Colombian and my dad's American. So when they met, they didn't speak each other's language. And so they fell in love and went to night school to learn each other's language. And so this reminded me of getting to know someone who has a different upbringing than you, who came from a different culture than you, and to understand that when you learn to blend, it can be an even better product than either thing in their own strengths. So for me, it was a beautiful coming together of cultures, which is what I am. I came together from two different cultures. My mom is like 5-foot Spitfire Colombian, and my dad's like 6-foot computer programmer who looks like Bill Gates. They're like complete opposites.
And didn't speak the same language when they met.
No. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's
so to sum it up, it is the origin story of Brittany's coming to being. We are her parents, and we created an amazing recipe, and this was the result.
There you go, an amazing recipe. That is incredible about the different languages. I got to tell you, my first trip to Italy, I have a friend who lives there. He couldn't take off, and he sent me off to Venice with one of his friends who spoke no English. And
good way to learn.
It just, writing notes on the train to Venice from Milan, you just made me think of that, because it was one of those most incredible experiences I've ever had, because two people from different worlds, we both had the best time.
Yeah.
And recently found each other on Facebook. Just, but that is such a incredible story and coincidence.
Yeah, it was really, as I was reading the script, it didn't like hit me at first. And then as I kind of dived deeper into it, I was like, oh my God, these are my parents. Which was just really fun.
Did you know this while you were shooting?
Yeah, I did know it while we were shooting. It was just really great to see these characters realize that, they were so set in their own ways. And the more they got to know each other, they just kind of blended together. And there's this really beautiful dance scene that I thought they did so great at.
That's the word we're using? We're using beautiful? Okay. It was half beautiful. It was half beautiful.
Stop it. It was just so great. Wasn't it sweet?
Can you both dance?
Hey, it took a lot of work for me to sell the idea that I'm not an amazing salsa dancer. I thought I did a good job looking like a newbie and like really selling it, right?
You did fantastic.
Because every 2 seconds, Camilla's like, hey, you're not supposed to be good at this. Stop. Like, dumb it down a little bit. And I'm like, no.
It was so cute.
I love seeing, actually, in that scene, because we spoke through it, obviously, and then the music gets turned up and we're talking, and I'm remembering the stuff that we were saying, and I'm like, I'm pulling off these like swing dance moves, and she's like, that's not salsa. like I remember all those moments, and they all made it in there, and you could see us speaking it. It was really funny, really cute.
Did you think you were a dancer before the film?
Never once. I never have considered myself a dancer, unless I've had copious amounts of tequila. Then I consider myself a pro. Yeah.
Then we all feel the same way. 100%.
Exactly. And it's better if everyone else is drinking who's watching me too.
So have a margarita while you're watching Sweet Navidad.
Exactly.
You'll think Mark was fantastic. Brittany, what was the most difficult part for you directing, this being your directorial? Was there something that you look back on?
The snow. It was like trying to remember all the things with it, because having to shoot not in winter time and try and make the snow look as real as we could was more of like a technical challenge. I'm trying to think of creatively, it was just keeping everything in order and the through line and kind of organizing everything in my head. But they made it so easy. They had such great chemistry. I didn't have to, really work on that aspect at all. That was already there. And like I said, I was just so blessed and fortunate to have a really great team to work with. So I think that, there's obviously hurdles and obstacles in making any movie. A lot of them come down to, we got to make our day, so we got to get through this really quick. I will say the food, I loved it, and I thought our team did such a great job with the food, but it did take a lot more time than I, realized with all the resets, because anytime we were making the food, we had to go again, we had to unmake it and reset it. So that was a time-consuming aspect, but I think that it was well worth it, and we had a great team with that, so that helped.
Speaking of the food and Camilla being the great chef in the film, are you a great chef?
I actually consider myself a pretty good chef. I love cooking. To me, it's like magic. I have a little spice tin thing, and I put together all these things, and they make something that's delicious that everybody wants to eat. And I actually just made a Thanksgiving feast for me and my husband 2 nights ago, or last night. And it was fantastic. But yeah, so I love cooking. Actually, one of my dreams when I was a little girl was to be a celebrity chef. I don't know. I mean, that's just so random. But I always wanted to
There's
have
still time.
I know. I wanted to have a cooking show growing up, and I would practice all the time. And it just kind of happened this way. And my sister and I love to bake together. So it just was beautiful that I could have this character be something that I really, really enjoy.
I love that. Mark, the woman who thought of you for this role, did she know you and Camilla knew each other?
I don't know. I think after she mentioned who was playing the role that I told her. Yeah, I think so. But I don't know if they knew prior to it.
I don't think
That's
so.
pretty great, because of just like Brittany was describing, the chemistry between, how lucky that they all got that you did.
Yeah, again, finding out, and again, that was the next question after Brittany, who's playing the other role, because jumping into something like that, the only way it's possible is if you got some talented people on board. You know what I mean? So like knowing that I can trust the director, and knowing that I can trust like playing with the co-star in the movie, like it makes it a lot easier, because you never know who you're gonna get. You never know if you're gonna get somebody who's just like only knows how to do it one way, or like doesn't open up right away. And I was like, we don't have time to discuss anything beforehand. So, but I already knew based off of Camilla's personality that it would be very, very easy. And I had seen her work on the show, and I saw she was very light and loose, and could move and maneuver around and work off of anybody. So I was like, okay, we're good to go. We're good to go. Two talented badasses. Can I say badasses?
You can. You absolutely can.
We're on the
So
internet.
Sweet Navidad, of course, is a holiday movie airing December 11th. Are you fans of holiday movies, and what's your favorite holiday movie?
Ooh,
Oh,
that's tough.
Camila, go first.
Huge holiday movie person. I like the old school cartoons. Rudolph.
Claymation.
Yeah, I love to watch those in the morning and play music all day. And I'm just a big Christmas nerd. So I have a couple of ugly Christmas sweaters. I wear them throughout the month.
Oh, we should have had you wear that if I knew.
Yeah, I have also a giant onesie that's a Christmas tree that comes attached with a skirt. It's perfect. It's beautiful. So yeah, I love everything Christmas, and I think that's my go-to, the Christmas cartoons. Who's next?
Oh, Mark, go ahead.
I love Christmas. One of my favorite holidays, next to Halloween, probably. It's a great couple months. Let's just put it that way. October through the end through New Year's is a great time of year. But yeah, all of the classics. I mean, I grew up watching A Christmas Story on loop, the 24-hour playing of it on, I think, TNT or something, or TBS.
We're watching the remake tomorrow.
I'm very excited to see that. Same, all of the claymations, the original Rudolphs, and like the big snow monster, and Charlie Brown Christmas, and all of those classics. Oddly enough, I think the last on my radar are this type of movie watching. Like, I was like, oh, I don't want to watch that. It's so cheesy, whatever. But like, another great thing that Brittany did for me on that set too is to help me like embrace the cheese a little more. And she was always reminding me to smile, because I'm just a little Mr. Serious actor all the time. And I'm like, okay. I was like, this isn't too much. She's like, I swear I'll tell you if it's too much, because I'm not used to bigger things. And there is a genius way of creating larger than life narratives. And I think that it's like it's a talent that somebody has. And like Camilla nails it, because she was just so animated and so alive, and I bought every second of it. But it was just, those types of movies are not my forte. So it was really fun and exciting to explore that side of it and kind of embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember these discussions that we would have because Mark is a very, very talented actor. I've told you this, Mark, and he knows, but he's a very talented actor. And it's so funny because each genre demands different things, and it has nothing to do with talent. It has to do with these like guidelines. There's like an outline for each of these different genres and a different way to play it. And I was like, Mark, you have an amazing smile. Let me see it, because he does. He lights up when he smiles like that. And I find this conversation. Yeah, I have this conversation with a lot of lead actors doing the romantic comedies or the Christmas movies, because a lot of them think that if they do that, it's too much. And I'm like, listen, if you're doing HBO, too much. If you're doing this, it's too much. But for this, it's perfect. It's exactly what the audience wants to see. They want to see that inner light shine through. And when he would do it, it was just like
holiday cheer.
Yeah. And so that was really fun to get that out of Mark, because he is so talented, but it's a different genre, right? So it challenges you in different ways. And so that's always fun as a director, to be able to have those conversations like, okay, yes, this is great. This is correct. This is natural. I believe it. But now let's take it in a different direction to get something different out of it that serves this genre. So I thought that was a really fun part of the process. And yeah, I'm like, I like a Home Alone. Like, I like a Home Alone. I like an Elf.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like just those are the ones that I stand out. Or The Holiday. It's funny. Fun fact. Dawn, our editor, used The Holiday to score our temp score, and now I use it in a lot of my rom-com temps because it's just such a great soundtrack. Well, obviously it's Hans Zimmer. But that's another one that I went back and rewatched it recently. I'm like, perfection. But yeah, those are my three.
Holiday, is that the Queen Latifah one?
No, that's the one with
Cameron Diaz, Jude Law. Who else in that? Jack.
Queen Latifah was Last Holiday.
Last Holiday. Yeah, this is the Holiday.
Right. And for those watching, we've mentioned Don Money. Don is Emmy Ryland's husband from Guiding Light and General Hospital.
Yep. Tie that all together.
I know. It all comes back. And Emmy Ryland and Crystal Hunt played the same character on Guiding Light.
Hilarious. Forgot about Soap World is this small. It's
yeah. This small. Totally. Tell me, what influenced you all, or who or what influenced you all, since Brittany, you started as an actress, on becoming actors? Camilla?
I remember, I will never forget this. It's just seeing Jim Carrey in everything, and I would see him. I didn't understand a lot of English, so I would see him on the TV, and I would see his faces and see his mannerisms and see how exaggerated he would be. And I remember turning to my mom and being like, I want to be in there with him. Like, I want to be in the box. I want to be with the people in the box. Like, how do I get in that box? And, that was it for me. Jim Carrey was the reason why I wanted to be in movies, because he made me feel like people like me, silly, funny, weird, crazy people, could be in movies and be exaggerated and not get judged or whatever, and not be too over the top. And my energy was not too much, because his was a lot, and it wasn't too much.
Of course.
So it was perfect.
I love that. I don't think I've ever heard a female actress I've asked a question to say Jim Carrey. I love that. That's a great.
Yeah, he's my guy.
I love that.
As a child of the 90s, blockbuster movie nights were a huge part of my childhood. Order the pizza, run there, try to get the new release, see if they returned it in the box really quickly. And watching movies was just a huge part of my upbringing. And I think I fell in love with the style of storytelling, because in the 90s, movies were simple. The concepts were simple. The story was simple. It can literally be about just two people that are going to the store, and you would find the magic in the relationship and the dynamic in there. And then I was a musical theater kid. So I grew up doing all of the shows, all of the musical theater, all of the community theater, and making my way up there. And it's just, I've always loved it. And then I knew that I was gonna, you know, there's a point where all of my friends that I grew up doing theater with were like, okay, now we got to go off to college and get real jobs. I was like, we do. And so I was like, well, why don't we just keep doing this? So like, oh no, like that's like that part is impossible. I was like, well, clearly not. People are doing it. So like, why don't we just go do it? We're good. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to do it. I was like, all right, great. See you soon. And thank God for Facebook, because, you know, we all keep in touch on there. But I didn't really know anything else outside of music and arts as far as what drove me passionately. I've had so many odd jobs over the years that were always just the fuel to keep the dream alive. You know what I mean? Like nothing's ever really grabbed me. I mean, I say this all the time. If we put, like, especially, you know, all of us here have been on soaps, like the amount of effort it takes to do a soap and to memorize last minute, which also played into me being able to do this the next day. That training really helped me jump right into it. But like the energy we put into our jobs through auditions and all that, people are often like, oh, actors they're overpaid. I was like, not if you consider back pay. Because when you reach the point where you're making decent money in this industry, you have tens of thousands of hours of back pay that you got no money for, prepping for auditions, now prepping to create self-tapes for auditions. Your whole day is done. You're emotionally drained. If we put the same effort into any other like fiscal avenue of real estate, we would be billionaires. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot. So you know you want to do it, and that's why you do it. Otherwise you'd be crazy to do it.
That's another first, Mark, having it described as back pay, but brilliant, because it really what you all do go through to possibly get that first, or, you know, that big is something us who don't do really can't understand.
Yeah. No, I fully agree and believe in that too, Mark. And I've said that to people too. I'm like, you don't understand how hard people work without getting any compensation. And it's a full-time job. You know, I remember right after Hollywood Heights, I was doing 3 or 4 auditions a day, and I didn't book anything for an entire year. I went through an entire year having 3 to 4 auditions a day, and I didn't make a penny. I didn't make a penny. So you don't know how long each of your paychecks are going to have to last you. So it also like does something to you mentally, that we're kind of always living in this survival mentality. But and that's to Mark's point, you have to love it so much, because that's the reward. I got to audition today. I got to play a character.
There's so many sidelines and side jobs to it. Like you have to become a pro at rejection.
Yes.
That's the side the, you know, the major you have to get first before you can start. And then it's shifting perspective. So like I'm not auditioning today. I get to do one performance of this, and maybe I'll get to do more of them. Like you're preparing for a performance for the day, and then you leave there with a completely different outlook other than, you know, drained. And that's the only way that you survive this many years, in my opinion. But yeah, that's a very good point.
And
Brittany, you, I assume, were commuting to go to those auditions from New Jersey.
No, I was talking. Well, yes, I did do that.
Yeah, but you did. But that's still costly.
Yeah,
you know, where you're not making money to. You know, many people are spending a ton of money to get to these auditions as well.
And then there's acting class, and then there's making sure that you kept getting the right haircut. Like you have to look decent. Like going to the gym, taking care of yourself. Camila puts us all to shame with that. That girl's she works out 24/7. I don't know when she's not working out. She's at F20. What is it? F24 now, or
F45?
F45. Yeah.
What is that? A gym?
Yeah, it's a circuit class. It's
an intense class. But there's that, and then you're paying for gas, and then the overhead of just existing in Los Angeles, to breathe in Los Angeles.
Not to mention, you guys remember when self-tapes, well, I don't know if you guys ever did, but living in the East Coast, I remember when self-tapes used to be $150 to send to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. $170.
So you are literally investing in somebody else's project.
Yeah.
And seeing nothing in return.
It's absolutely, you have to be so in love with what you do. And I think for me, I grew up being on stage. I think I did my first play at age 7. I was in all of my school plays and musicals, and I just loved it. I loved getting lost in a world and just like fully diving in. And that's why I liked to read too, because I was just like fully immersed in something. And I'm trying to think if like there was anybody that I like, one individual that I like watched all their movies or wanted to be like, but I don't think it was one person. I think I wanted to be everyone. I would watch something and like I would be like, ooh, that was a really cool moment. And I would like go in the mirror and like do it and recreate it. That's how I live my life.
Well, one day, Camilla, I hope you get to go up to Jim and tell him.
Oh yeah, to Jim. Who
I will
else?
die.
We have to figure that out for you.
Yeah.
Anytime
He's
I'm around,
awesome.
anytime I'm around any person I respect, I get into my shell, and I'm like, I don't even want to look at them.
It's really tough, right? Well, it's because you don't want them to explode this idea you have them in your head. They're like, what if they're an asshole? I could say asshole. Right?
I just don't.
You can. It'll ruin it. It'll
You're
ruin
like,
it.
don't ruin it. Yeah.
I just want to like just
Mark, I was going to ask, do you have a favorite 90s movie?
Oh man. Well, I know like Jim Carrey was one for me as well. Certain actors that I wanted to be, I did all the biographies and read all the books and all that. And that was usually like Matt Damon was one that I always loved his career, from Good Will Hunting on, Brad Pitt, and then Johnny Depp, obviously. Like those three, I was like, if I could be any of them, I would be very happy in my career, because they move around, they're so versatile, and they don't like, they were all good looking guys, but they embraced the craft of it instead of like dying off like a lot of actors did in the 90s, because they just embraced that they can brood and, you know, do the blue steel on camera. But but yeah, following those guys growing up, and Jim Carrey, and favorite 90s movie, I think the thing that like made me want to come make movies out of Syracuse was like when I watched Donnie Darko. I know it's a very like random and dark movie, but like just to me, there was just this like magic and draw and essence. And I was like, I want to make movies like that. I want to do it. So I just drove to LA with the U-Haul in the back of my Nissan Maxima 98 and never went back. Yeah.
That's awesome. Still have that Nissan Maxima?
Sure don't.
98. I didn't think you did, but you know.
No, I got somebody T-boned me in it actually. So I got into an accident in that car. So that's where that went. But you know,
good.
But I'm still here and they're okay. So yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, such a fun. I mean, how lucky were we to grow up in that era? Like I don't mean to sound like the cranky old man, but like we had it really good in the 90s.
Yep. I agree. I love 90s. I love 90s music. I love 90s movies. Mm-hmm. I'm stuck in the 90s, but the 90s are just like glory days for me as a society.
Very different time.
Yeah.
Brittany, you were around 18 when Langston Wilde came calling.
Yeah.
What do you remember about your audition? Did you have to screen test?
Yeah. I was supposed to be there for a day. It was screen testing.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I was you were there 5. Do I have it? About?
I'm sorry, 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I met Kristen at the audition and we hit it off. And it's funny. One of her friends was there as well. Oh, Sarah Hyland from Modern Family. We were both reading for that. And Kristen was like, you were just like such an Abercrombie girl. And it was just like, so I was like, really? I didn't think of myself as that, but we had such a great time. We just hit it off so well. And I remember that part came to me and it was like the prototype was Nikki Reed from 13, like super hard and edgy. And I was like, this girl, okay, that's fine. So I went in and I really didn't think I had a shot at the role at all. I was like, I remember that audition. It was snowing. It was a snow day. And like all my friends were playing and I had to go and audition. And I was like, why today? Why today of all days? And I got there and then they called me back and I was like, really? Like, I don't think I'm right for this role. This just is a lesson. You don't know when you're right for the role. And I booked it and I was like, so surprised. I was so shocked. I was like, I don't think I'm a punky, edgy girl. And then I got there and they put me in the wardrobe and they put the hair pieces in all these different colors. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, now I see it. Now this is like, I felt fully embodied. And Kristen and I remember that day, we were just like, we couldn't stop laughing with each other and we just had the best time. And I was like, oh gosh, this would be so fun to like do more. And then they just kept calling me back. And I was like, oh my gosh, I get to do this like for a long time. Like it was just, she's so fun. And I was going to college at the same time. And my friends from college started calling me Langston. So like that just became such a big part of my identity. And I still love it. Like if someone calls me Langston, I'm like, oh my God. I love it. I love her.
That's wild. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And Camilla, for you, One Life to Live was one of your first.
Yeah.
Playing Lola. And seriously, and I will come back to Brittany on this, but like Brittany working with Robin, I mean, your father, my God, the one and only A. Martinez.
God, we love him.
Me too. Class act.
God.
Yeah. It's
That's
been amazing.
somebody, I mean, as a first role, I couldn't think of anyone better to really work under, like to learn from an amazing actor.
Are you
but
kidding
more an amazing man.
100%. I was I booked this the week I was graduating high school, and I just remember having the first few scenes where I saw him from across the room at an airport or the lobby at a terminal or something like that, and just his presence. I was always like so just completely in awe of him, and I always have been. Even now, when I get to work with him as my dad on Days, he does that to me 15 years later, 16 years later. It's just, that's just who he is. When I'm around him, I want to just observe him and I want to learn and just take it all in. And it's just, even the way he breathes, everything. It's just, he's like this, this legend. So I love A very much. I have a lot of love for him. And yeah, working on One Life was amazing for me. It was my first experience on a show. I was this like little Miami girl that grew up behind a bakery, and I was in New York for the first time in my life, living in New Jersey, taking the train with my mom, my sister, and trying this out, figuring out what this all was. First of all, I didn't even know there were soap operas in English, guys.
Telenovela.
Telemundo.
Okay, all I had worked on were telenovelas, and I had done a lot of them. I had done at least like 10, and I really was at the point where I was like, I don't want to do anymore. So the thought that it was like a novela or even a soap opera, I was like, is it the same thing? Like, what am I getting into? Like, and I got to go to New York, and like, this is crazy. And, again, it was my first winter in New York after spending my entire 18 years of my life in Miami. Yes, I was depressed. In a year, I went to Miami 8 times. Oh, we lost Mark.
He might come back.
We'll come back in.
Okay.
He's in the automobile.
Okay. But yeah, it was amazing to have a friend, like, even just first of all, when I met Brittany, I didn't know that she spoke Spanish. And I was like, what the heck? And then I remember her saying Brittany. And I was like, wait, what? She speaks Spanish? Like, oh my God. And I was put a lot in her room that I think she had all these amazing things. And one of them was this collection of Family Guy movies, episodes. And I would always be like, oh my gosh, can I watch them? She's like, yeah, of course. Like, whatever. And I would like, oh my God, watch them. And I would just feel like so at home there, because I would like be doing nothing, because I would talk to nobody. I would not leave the room or anything. And I would just sit there and watch the movies or whatever on days that she wasn't there. And so, yeah, it just became such a nice first kind of home for me to work with all these icons, to work with Frank, to work with just so many people that I learned so much from, including Brittany.
Oh, thank you. It's great. What I love about soaps is the family that you make, and it is forever family. I had a reunion of One Life to Live people, I don't know, five years ago. And there were so many people that came out, and I was just like, you just instantly are like taken back to all those things you went through, because we don't have seasons,
Yeah.
So it's not like we shoot 10 episodes and then leave for a year. It's like we are there. We shoot hundreds of episodes. Those are hundreds of days that we are together going through it. And there's downtime, in the dressing room, and we would hang. I mean, I remember Kristen and I got all those Family Guy episodes to watch in our room, and that was our favorite thing to do. Or we would watch Maury. Do you remember? We would watch Mark. Oh, Mark's back.
My phone sorry, as you can see, I'm in the car, but it got like a temperature warning. It got super hot out of nowhere. I don't know why it's so hot. It's sitting against my Patagonia. It just goes to say how quality
Patagonia is keeping it warm.
apparently It just suddenly said temperature warning. I'm like, it's not even that hot.
Oh,
That's wild.
Yeah.
Mark, tell us about playing Nathan Horton on Days of Our Lives.
Oh man, what part?
What was it like? I mean, the Horton family is a part of history.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, great grandpa Horton, the voice of the intro. Essentially, when I got there, they're like, "These are the shoes that you're gonna fill," and I'm like, "Well, that's not possible. So don't say that to me."
And that's not any pressure.
Not at all, right? But just from an actor standpoint, it's great boot camp for acting. You literally get one take, and in that take, you're you guys all know this, but like you're not only remembering your abundance of expositional dialogue, you're also like catering to each camera for each movement, and then making sure you're not casting a shadow on your co-star, and like all of the things happening all at once, and then you're moving on, and that's what everyone sees. But from being part of such a legendary show, it was a trip. Camilla touched on like watching non-English soaps. That's kind of what I saw for the first time too. Another cool tie-in is a big chunk of my family, my uncle is Puerto Rican, so I grew up being watched by that part of my family as a child. And I remember being in Abuela's basement and being like on this little TV with the bunny ears and watching Telemundo and eating pegao and like all of the yummy Puerto Rican foods. And then
that's right.
Yes, that's right.
You tell them.
And then it would also it transferred over to Days of Our Lives coming on TV down there, and I would see that. And it's such a trip to know that like my grandmother watched the show, and I think it was only not even a year after she passed away that I randomly booked it. So to like know that like she would have loved to watch me on screen every day. So that was a little heartbreaking. But then part of me is like, did she orchestrate this for me? Like,
yeah,
like,
I like to buy that. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Camilla, you're talking, you didn't know there were American soaps. My mother learned to speak English watching the two shows I ended up working on. That's how she moved here from Holland in, late 50s, early 60s. And her mother-in-law, my grandmother, watched As the World Turns and Guiding Light and learned to speaking. I mean, there are millions of, men and women who learned their first language or their, second language by watching these soaps that have been on for, and, especially back then, you think about it, there were only 3 networks. So it had to be a soap. Today, it could be, it could be a cooking show.
Right. There's a lot more things. But yeah, now I remember my uncle was from Colombia, was living with us, and he would turn on Betty La Fea. I don't know if you knew about that, which turned into Ugly Betty. Americans Americanized it, but it was Betty La Fea. And so I remember my uncle would watch that because I never watched soaps growing up. Nobody in my family watched them. So when I got on one, I was like, I didn't know any of these people. I didn't know these shows. Like I knew Days of Our Lives from Friends with Joey being on Days of Our Lives. Like that
every time.
That was it.
Many people probably only know Days of Our Lives from Friends around, not just here in the US, but around the world.
Especially in Europe. That's the only thing people know in Europe. They're like,
I was going to say,
that's a real show?
Yeah. I was going to say, when I went to my honeymoon in Greece, I seriously, guys, every single person, I'm talking about like 15 people that I would say I was on Days of Our Lives, they'd be like, oh, from Friends. And I'm like, no, from Days of Our Lives.
Yes, but no, exactly. They're like, oh, Dr. Drake Ramore. I was like, well, actually, Dr. Nathan Horton, actually. But yeah, same idea.
Camilla, that's really a rough honeymoon. Where in Greece?
We went to, I had already gone, so I was kind of playing tour guide a little bit with my husband. But we went to Athens, we went to Santorini, and we went to Mykonos.
I love all those places.
Where I've been. Absolutely one of my favorite places.
What about you, Britt?
I've never. No, well, I dated someone who was Greek for 4 years.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah. So I met all the Greek side of the family.
Yeah, it's spectacular. Yeah. Brittany, I want to know what drove you to the directing path.
I had been doing a lot of these Lifetime movies. I actually didn't like, I was kind of dabbling. Do I want to direct? Am I really more of a producer, or what do I want to do? Because I also just wanted to like make things happen. My dream was always to be in a position where I could be in control of hiring my friends. That was always the goal. So like, I didn't know how that was going to really come to fruition, but I was starting to be in a lot of these Lifetime movies that were directed by more and more females, or a lot of these actresses that I knew, like Lindsay Hartley. I was in a movie with her, the first one I did with Jake, which was It Happened on Valentine's. And I heard that she had started to direct. There was another, who's the Kimberly from either All My Children or General Hospital, who started directing as well. I forget her last name, but yes, exactly. So I started to like hear of all these actresses that were starting to direct, and I was like, well, if I start in like the Lifetime world, like that's a genre I know very well. I think I had like done like 10 of them at the time. So I was like, I know the schedule, I know this pace, and I was starting to like kind of have these ideas, and I had a director tell me that I should start directing because of the conversations we were having, and he taught directing. So that was Doug Campbell, one of the first Lifetime movies I did. He kind of planted that seed all those years ago, and I kind of like dismissed it a little bit, like, oh, that's not really possible. You kind of just sometimes don't think that, especially in LA. I hadn't worked with a female director in 10 years, and I finally worked with Sarah, who directed
Sarah Loman.
Yeah. Sarah Loman, who directed Mark in another movie. And I was like, oh yeah, women can direct. I forgot, because I didn't like work with it. And that also was a lesson in representation for me, that until you see it happen, sometimes it's hard to imagine yourself doing it. So Sarah was a big actually inspiration for that. And yeah, I was working with Cartel and the line producer, Cammy Norton, who was a big supporter of mine. She was like, yeah, if you want to direct, just talk to Eric Woods, who was the owner of the company. And we sat down, and he was like, yeah, I'd love to have you come direct. So I was like, great. I started shadowing with them, and then Jake and Autumn beat him to it. And that's kind of how it all just started.
It is incredible, the influx, long overdue, of women directing. I mean, we've had it in daytime for years.
That was the only time I had worked with female directors. And now when I'm on set, every time I direct a movie, I get women actresses that go, thank you. Thank you so much. It's so awesome to work with a female director. Makes me want to direct someday. And that's so inspiring. And now I feel like I can do it. How did you get started? Like, it is this snowball effect that is important. It's important for all of us, for diversity, for, gender, like everybody, So I think that I really like this movement of like, supporting underrepresented.
Absolutely. Camila and Mark, speaking of not only Brittany being a woman, but Brittany being an actress, how do you think that has helped her be a better director?
Ain't no better director than an actor's director, in my opinion. Somebody who understands actors is going to get the most out of them. And there are, believe it or not, so many directors that do not, and they do all the wrong things by accident, thinking they're doing all the right things, and they end up limiting the performances they get and the opportunities that they get. So I think that Brittany being a brilliant actress makes her a brilliant director immediately.
You can pay
and then you can figure out the rest of the shit after. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. She's been where we are. She understands. She speaks our language, per se, and it makes things easier. She knows.
Well, and all of you, having spent time in daytime, it isn't one project or one director. In daytime, you get a different director every day, 5 directors, but you're working with directors all the time. So you must be, absorbing all of that as well.
Right. And I will say on the flip side of that, because I will also second that me as an actress, like working with directors who have also been in the actor chair, there's a certain sense of familiarity that they know how to talk to you. It is a language that we all speak. But to their credit, doing these TV movies on a very deep budget, it's very beneficial to work with actors that know that pace, which a lot of them come from the soap world, because we've been through this boot camp of, hey, I need you to get this done in one take. Ready? go. And when you work with really talented actors who also come from the soap world, they're able to give you that and makes my job easier. So they deserve credit for being able to bring a performance, take one. Helped a lot.
I wish the industry realized that a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Because there have been talented actors and actresses who have come from daytime, you know, who could get the job.
List. Yeah.
Yeah. In a second. Before I let you all go, do you have a favorite part in Sweet Navidad?
Ooh.
Oh.
I mean, I had a lot of fun in the family household, just because we also have another mutual friend, Manny Streets, who does most of our music in our Lifetime movies. And he got to play a role in this movie, and just being in the house with everyone, as you can see, it translates in the movie. It was just like it was a party. It was so much fun, and everyone was just very like sassy and outgoing, and just filming there was a treat, I think.
For me, I know that it was a pain in the ass, Brittany, to reset the food. Like, don't get me wrong. I feel for the art department and props and everything, but it was so much fun to like make a mess.
Oh my gosh.
Shit in bowls and like
and not be responsible for cleaning it up.
Like, here you go, get me a fresh brand new one. Yay!
I'll be out here drinking my Celsius while you clean up.
I love playing with food, so it was awesome to play with food. It was awesome.
And it was always like, make more of a mess, Camila. Just like have the flour go everywhere. It was just so funny. But I will say, I think I agree with Mark, actually, that the Noche Buena, like just filming the music, that song was like so sweet. And then just the party and us being able to kind of float through that party as a filmmaker, that was a really cool moment for me. I loved all of our Steadicam stuff. We had a great Steadicam op, Dalton, who is incredible, who actually knows the DP that I'm working on this movie with. And so it's all small world. But yeah, that Noche Buena was just like, it was the essence of everything, of like welcoming Jax into that family of like, this is our culture and you belong and look at how welcome you are. And it was just a very heartwarming moment. So I loved that one.
Yeah. I love that. What's the film you're working on in Atlanta?
This will be a Lifetime thriller. It's a fish out of water story. A woman gets inherited a lot of money and a big mansion from her estranged father who just passed. And so they have to kind of find a way to fit in with the social elite. And there's also a mystery regarding her father's death. So dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
and anything, what's next for you two, Mark, Camilla?
Yeah, I have a slasher coming out.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Do you know the date?
No, we're in talks to see what, how, and when it's going to happen.
Great.
Congrats.
Thanks. Same to you.
That's exciting.
Thank you.
I just had a movie that just came out recently, right before this one, which is fun because I got to work with Millie Marty again, who is also in. She played a role in the movie as well. A really big role for It was a cool movie. And then I have a movie that I just did that I produced and acted in that I'm in post-production on right now, which is in the psychological thriller dark realm, kind of the same direction Camilla's going here right now. Yeah.
Wow. Everybody's going down the dark thriller.
Hey, you gotta have contrast. You gotta have contrast.
Exactly.
Yeah. From sweet holiday movie.
Balance.
Sweet Navidad to Sweet Navidad. Like, you gotta do it all.
I love that. That's well said. It's such a pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having
Congrats
us.
on the movie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you so much, Alan. That was so much fun.
You're so much fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Sweet Navidad premieres on Peacock on Sunday, December 11th. Please don't forget to check it out. Please join me tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern when a family friend, Jason Gishner, joins me live to tell me about his incredible work working with the Tennessee Innocence Project. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notifications if you haven't done so. And remember, you can download audio versions of The Locker Room by searching The Locker Room on your favorite streaming platforms. Have a great afternoon, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. And please, as always, stay safe.